Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Cheyenne, and today I am going to be making Claire Saffitz's preserved lemon meringue cake. I decided to make this cake for my boyfriend's birthday because he absolutely loves all things lemon and his favorite flavor of pie is lemon meringue, so of course this just seemed like the perfect birthday cake for him. Also, I did divide this recipe in half so that I could get a smaller cake. The measurements do get a little bit wonky with this, so I will have a link to the full recipe in the description box down below. So to start off, I just cut the preserved lemons in half and scraped out the insides, and I actually purchased these off of Amazon because they are pretty hard to come by where I live. But as Claire mentions in the recipe, if you live near a Middle Eastern market or a super well-stocked grocery store, you should be able to find them there. Once I finished scraping out the insides, I just roughly chopped them up and then added them into a blender cup. Next, I went ahead and cut a fresh lemon in half and added some lemon juice to the blender, as well as some Greek yogurt, some vanilla, some freshly grated lemon zest, and then blended it all together until it was nice and smooth. Once that was done, I measured out the cake flour and added that to this bowl along with some baking powder and some baking soda before mixing it all together. In a separate bowl, I added softened butter and granulated sugar, and then I beat them together until it was nice and fluffy. Next, I added the eggs in one at a time, beating after each addition until the mixture was smooth. Then to that mixture, I alternated adding in the dry ingredients as well as the wet ingredients, starting off first with about a third of the flour mixture, and then following it up with half of the yogurt mixture, and then alternating between those until there was none left. When the last bit of flour was mixed in, I stopped using the hand mixer and switched over to a flexible spatula so that I could scrape down the sides of the bowl as well as fold the batter a couple times. Finally, I just split the batter evenly between these two 6-inch cake pans, and then I went ahead and baked these cakes at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the center came out nice and clean. So while the cakes were baking, I went ahead and got started on the lemon curd, which was actually pretty simple to make. So I started off by adding some granulated sugar as well as some lemon zest into this saucepan, and then I just used my fingertips to massage the zest into the sugar. After that, I added in the egg and egg yolks and then just whisked everything together until the mixture was pale in color and thickened. Then I continued to whisk the mixture while streaming in the lemon juice until everything was nice and smooth, and then I went ahead and added some salt and whisked that in as well. After transferring the saucepan over to the stove on medium-low heat, I continued to whisk the curd until it was opaque yellow and was thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. Then I whisked in the butter one piece at a time, allowing each piece to dissolve fully before adding in the next piece. After that, I whisked in some vanilla and then transferred the curd over to a glass bowl and covered it with plastic wrap directly on top, then set it in the fridge to chill. Once my cakes were fully cooked and cooled, I went ahead and split each cake in half using a turntable as well as a serrated knife. Once the lemon curd had fully chilled and set, I went ahead and took it out of the fridge and used a little bit of it to help stabilize my cake board to the turntable. After that, it was time to start assembling my cake. So as you can see here, I started off with one layer of the cake that I had cut earlier and then just alternated the layers with some lemon curd. So unfortunately my camera did die while I was in the middle of filming this. However, I basically just continued that same process of stacking and filling the cake layers until everything was used up. After that, I stuck this wooden dowel through the cake to kind of help center and stabilize everything, and then I covered it with plastic wrap and popped it in the fridge to chill. So the final component of this cake that I had to make was the Italian meringue, and this was my very first time ever making an Italian meringue, so it was a little bit challenging, but we got something in the end. But to that bowl, I just added some egg whites, some lemon juice, and some salt, and then in the saucepan, I added some sugar and a 1/4 cup of water, and then set it over medium heat, and basically I just stirred that together until the sugar was dissolved. Once the sugar mixture started to boil, I just used a wet pastry brush to wipe down the sides, and then I was continuously checking the temperature until it reached 244 degrees Fahrenheit. While the sugar syrup was cooking, I used my hand mixer on medium-high speed to whip the egg whites together until they were foamy and softly whipped. At this point, I began to slowly stream the sugar syrup down the side of the bowl and then continued to beat the mixture together. Once the sugar syrup dissolved into the egg whites, I turned the speed up to high and then continued to beat the meringue until it formed firm peaks. Lastly, I just beat in some vanilla extract, and then once that was fully incorporated, I was finally ready to frost my cake. So here I am finally putting everything together and just frosting the cake with the meringue. And you know, I didn't have a kitchen torch or a blowtorch, so I didn't get to have that kind of classic torched look on the outside. But I will say that the cake was super tasty, super delicious. Didn't get any footage of me and Daniel eating it just because, you know, it was his birthday and we were just enjoying the moment. But yeah, I definitely recommend that you guys give this recipe a try. It was a nice challenge for sure, especially with the Italian meringue, but I feel like it was definitely doable and it tasted really good. So let me know if you give this recipe a try, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!